You just saw one severe thunderstorm warning drop off the screen, but our only active severe thunderstorm warning is this one from Hominy, Cleveland, back over to Skiatook, Sperry, Owasso, and Collinsville. And as that line of thunderstorms continues to move toward the east, we'll continue to be tracking that too. Now, one more look as we take a look at our Sepulpa storm right now. I was going to just look off air just a bit. So far, I'm not seeing any sign that we have significant hail with it right now. I figure there could be a little bit of small hail with it too. Our tornado warning is still in effect, and that's going to go until 8:45 for parts of Creek County, and that's for this rotation that's extremely weak now. It's just nowhere near as strong as it was earlier, and we can show you that too as it gets up close to Manford. But remember, we're still pretty unstable right now, and we could see this thing increase a little bit in velocity, but so far we have not seen that happen. We look again kind of right into the Manford area, and just in the high resolution Doppler radar mode, we may see just a small, weak, broad circulation taking place right in here, but so far that is actually still pretty weak just to the northeast of Manford. Now, it's still hanging together in southeastern parts of Pawnee County right now. That's going to be moving right up over 412, right about where it crosses over Lake Keystone. So I'm actually going to drop this radar data off the screen just a little bit, and you can kind of pick out this is going to be pretty close to moving right over the Keystone Lake here, the Cimarron River branch of Keystone Lake as it moves up, again, towards Shady Grove right now, too. As Brad has also talked about, we continue to deal with a flash flood threat across parts of Oklahoma. In fact, nearly everybody along and north of I-44 under a flash flood warning right now. So far, that warning has not been extended into the metro area, but we'll continue to watch. Not only do we have this rain moving up over the city of Tulsa, but we've got this big complex of thunderstorms as well. That one is shifting south slowly. We can put it into motion here as we continue to track our one tornado warning in northwestern Creek County and extreme southern parts of Pawnee County. But you can see making slow progress. Unfortunately, it's slow to arrive. It'll be very slow to move out as well. Just had another report now in Bartlesville that we have some street flooding on the east side of Bartlesville, and that's what we're going to be able to expect as this big cluster of thunderstorms moves into the metro area. But the reason we're on the air, we have an official tornado warning in effect for northern Creek County, especially that just northern sliver from Manford back toward Oilton, and also southeastern parts of Pawnee County. But Oilton, Highway 18, 99, we're all in the clear over here. In fact, as this gets a little bit closer, probably be able to give the all clear soon to people to the, yeah, it looks like we can give an all clear to everybody west of Highway 48 right now. We'll watch for any additional leading edge spin ups or so right along this front. We're looking at another report from emergency management up in Osage County of high water rescues around Hominy too. So again, tornado warning is an immediate threat right now, even though the rotation is fairly weak. I expect this to be dropped actually really soon, as that rotation continues to be a little less of a factor moving up over Lake Keystone. And then we deal with flooding. In fact, let me kick this over to show you how much rain, at least where some of the heavier rain, has fallen across parts of green country right now. And that's what we're looking at here. Again, just widespread heavy rain, multiple inches of rain through parts of Pawnee, Osage County, Kay County, Noble County, all the way back west of I-35 right now. This is causing flash flooding in Osage and even Washington County now. And you can see that heavier rain is slowly edging its way toward Tulsa. So why expect at least 2 to 4 inches of rain, maybe even more in a few spots too. Again, we still have that tornado warning that is still in effect. So there is one of our Skyview Network cameras looking at some of the shower and thunderstorm activity moving across Tulsa. This is South Tulsa, high atop Warren Place. As that looks to the north, you can see some occasional flashes of lightning as well. Also want to point out we do have a tornado watch in effect for nearly all of green country, and it has been cleared now in Montgomery County and Kansas, so there's a little bit of good news things stabilizing slowly there. Now, hearing some thunder and lightning in the metro area right now too, and so far no severe thunderstorm reports in the city of Tulsa right now. Just have that heavy rain and thunderstorm activity. Now, still looking at high resolution Doppler radar, we still have some rotation now pretty close to the Shady Grove community too, as we watched closely right there. Now, I'm going to zoom right back into that where we're seeing the rotation. It looks like it's not far from moving out of that tornado warned area. I'm going to kick it over to velocity. And while the original rotation has been a little bit weaker, I'm going to keep zooming in here. We'll get a kind of right in to this area. And what we've seen is just a little bit of rotation between Westport and south of 412 and the county line right now. Certainly not as strong as what we saw earlier. Let's take a look at that on high resolution Doppler radar. Again, in the Shady Grove area, if we've got some of that rotation taking place, it's just to the southeast of Westport, which is pretty much right on the lake. Let me bring this back down. Does not look as strong on the lowest level. Still a little bit of, just a tiny bit in here on the leading edge, where we may have just a little bit of an edge right here that we're going to watch closely. Now, understand from an emergency management post that in Mounds, they are sounding the tornado sirens. Really don't know why they're sounding the tornado sirens in Mounds. There does not appear to be an imminent threat as we look at high-resolution Doppler radar down south of Kiefer, where Mounds is right now. Let me take you to reflectivity as we watch this big thunderstorm just starting to really make things very noisy in Tulsa. It's not severe. Let's zoom into this storm right here. Again, we're not in the tornado warning polygon in Mounds. We're seeing kind of a big thunderstorm to the north, but that's just a little shower sitting over the city, so I'm not sure why sirens are sounding. Now, if we look west of Kiefer, there may be a little bit of rotation trying to form northwest of Mounds, moving up toward Kiefer, back to reflectivity. And again, you see there is, again, that kind of concave shape in the storm. So that's one we're going to watch pretty closely too. But that's not moving toward Mounds. That's going to be moving up toward the city of Tulsa too. Now, our team coverage continues with Fox23 certified meteorologist Laura Mock. What are you seeing, Laura?
Well, what I've been looking at now is just how the Tulsa Metro is about to deal with a ton of rain. We're starting to see things take shape now. We've seen the boundary that we've been talking about all day long starting to come a little more to the south. And you can see all of this rain that's been sitting off to the northwest have started to get a little bit closer, and we've been seeing a couple more showers and thunderstorms from the south starting to come up too. What's going to happen is all of this is going to be merging together, and we could have the potential for several inches of rain very quickly across the Tulsa Metro. That is going to be a big concern tonight. In fact, that may be our biggest concern tonight. Sure, we have the chance for those quick spin-up tornadoes, but the flooding threat will be affecting more people than the tornadoes. As we take a look at Fox23 Doppler radar, we still have that one tornado warning in effect until 8:45, so we still have about 6-7 minutes left to go before we might see this expire. So let's come in a little bit closer. We'll take a look at this storm. So far, what we've been seeing is the general trend of this has come down significantly, but because we still have the tornado warning in effect, we'll take a closer look, because if you're under this tornado warning, you definitely want to know what's going on. So as for the reflectivity, we're not seeing any very definitive hooks on this, any notches on this line. But as we take a look at the velocity, this is where we saw some signs of rotation as it was getting closer to Oilton. Now as we take a look at this, and I may actually investigate that one just a little bit, just to the east of Oilton there, coming up on 51, but where we originally had that rotation, that has pretty much completely dissipated. Now I'm going to step off screen and just investigate things just a little bit, just to the east of Oilton. Might not be completely matching up with what we're seeing. Let's take a look there. And maybe we might have had a little bit of rotation there trying to get going. It doesn't look like it was sustained for very long. Right around the Silver City area, it looks like it was trying to get going. I mean, it's still very weak at this point, and something that we're just going to keep an eye on at this point. But our original rotation that we were tracking as this tornado warning was issued has pretty much dissipated. Now, anytime we have any history of rotation with storms, we have to keep an eye on those same areas of the storms all the way through its life cycle, just because it will have the potential to possibly spin up again. That's just how things work with these storms. If it spins up once, it will have the potential to a little bit later. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning that goes for Pawnee County, southern portions of Osage County, southern portions of Washington County, and the northern portion of Tulsa County too, and that is in effect until 9:15. Heavy rain expected with this, strong winds, possibly even at times some small hail too. We have thunderstorms coming into the Tulsa metro too. In fact, that's what I'm going to take a look at now. We're going to take a look a little bit closer to the Tulsa metro. So as we come in a little bit closer, we'll go ahead and zoom this in right into the heart of town. A lot of that heavy rain now making its way through Sapulpa, Oakhurst, west side of South Tulsa, Sand Springs, downtown seeing the heavy rain too. Turley, Owasso seeing heavy rain all the way into South Tulsa, or around 61st and Yale seeing that rain. Our Fox 23 studios here. Eastern side of town, you're kind of missing out on that right now. Bixby, Broken Arrow, Coweta, not seeing a ton of rain, but this is just the beginning of that big flood threat that we're going to have to watch through the rest of the evening. And I'm going to step off screen and just take a look at the velocities here with the big portion of rain that we have coming through Tulsa. We don't have any big signs of rotation, and that's just what I wanted to check on, is just to check to see if we had any signs of anything, because in these situations, we just have to keep an eye on things. And we haven't seen any big signs of any rotation either across any other areas. We did have that quick spin up closer to Oilton, northern portions of Creek County, southern Pawnee County too. But as this continues to the east, that rotation has weakened quite a bit. And as we get an update here, just still talking about some of that heavy rain coming through the area. Okmulgee County seeing some of that rain too. And we have Fox 23 severe weather team coverage here. James, we're still tracking this one tornado warning coming through the area. We've had signs of maybe a quick, another little spin up trying to get going, but it doesn't look like anything is sustained right now. What are you seeing?
Yeah, same story. We haven't seen any kind of sustained rotation at low levels with this storm, and that's what we would see with this big complex of thunderstorms west and north of Tulsa. Now, we've talked a lot about why we haven't seen thunderstorms firing up south of Tulsa, and we're finally seeing that take place slowly to the south of Tulsa. And we've been talking about that storm in northwestern Okmulgee and northeastern Creek County that was moving up into the metro area that could eventually make some hail. I've been kind of looking at mid-levels in this storm up off the ground, and this one's got a little bit of rotation at middle levels of the storm. That's a little concerning, of course, in this environment. Also, the storm southwest of Beggs has a little bit of rotation in it, just close to Okmulgee, and southwest of Okmulgee, a little mid-level rotation. So these storms are certainly stronger than anything else that we've seen develop so far out in advance of this thunderstorm complex. But so far, they have not really gotten intense enough to get beyond that kind of watchful waiting stage with these thunderstorms. As we take a little closer look at these, I'm going to put them into motion for you. And again, you can see they're moving to the north actually pretty quickly, but you can also pick up they've got that little bit of a kind of a concave shape, that corner with a lot of these storms. And that's what leads me to believe, and examination with high definition Doppler velocities shows these storms do have a little bit of mid-level rotation. So they weren't watching very closely in case any of that rotation starts to descend a little bit closer to the ground. That's when we, of course, would jump all over that. But for now, that tornado warning in Creek and Pawnee County just about set to expire here in the next few minutes. So we're going to continue watching those closely as we look at high definition, or at least velocities with these storms right now. And in fact, we'll just kick over to high definition Doppler radar right now. I'm going to take a little closer look right now at some of those thunderstorms. Again, just south of Sapulpa right now. Again, the rotation does not appear super strong with that storm either, but again, this is low level in the thunderstorm, And sometimes this rotation will actually start a little bit higher in the thunderstorm. We look a little further south. This storm south of Beggs certainly warrants watching closely. Rotation at the ground doesn't really look like it's sustained. And as we look east of Henrietta, we also have a little bit of rotation here too. But it, again, is not sustained in the storm. So while we will continue to watch these very closely, and of course our full Fox 23 severe weather team is here, we'll bring you full team coverage coming up at the top of the hour as Fox 23 News at 9 o'clock starts. And if we do see any more tornado warnings, we'll be back on before that point. But coming up, we'll be tracking that flooding threat as these storms move into the metro area, and who still could see the risk of 1 or 2 tornadoes as these thunderstorms continue to develop and move across eastern Oklahoma.
On us. Call Car and Car for your free consultation.
Turn up summer with Minute Maid slushies, only at McDonald's.
Enjoy a small slushie for only $1.29 or any size Coca-Cola for only $1.
So, honey, we shopping for you or me?
Actually, you can both leave in new vehicles today. Right now, we have $17,000 off the new 2018 Chevrolet Silverado and $9,000 off on the new Chevrolet Equinox.
I love this one.
$17,000 off the new Chevy Silverado and $9,000 off the Chevy Equinox.
Route 66 Chevy, I-44 Memorial.
Route66Chevy.com.
Attention on deck. We're zeroing in on IHOP's breakfasts. Brace for pancakes, French toast, or extra meat.
IHOP and Go acquired. Let's move out.
Breakfeasts. Order online and save $5.
There it is, baby.
Well, we're going to stay on with you all the way through Fox 23 News at 9 o'clock. New severe thunderstorm warning has been posted now for the city of Tulsa as well, as this thunderstorm line slowly sags toward the southeast right now, right across the city of Tulsa. We also have some showers out ahead of that main thunderstorm line, some thunderstorms right now over the city of Tulsa. Let's put this into motion, and you can see the storms ahead of this are actually moving pretty quickly across the city, and then we've got that slower moving line of thunderstorms moving in from the northwest right now too. So it appears the heaviest rain falling right across West Tulsa, up the Arkansas River Valley, over downtown Tulsa, and curving back up across Owasso, Claremore, Keatonville, and up toward Oologah too. This band of thunderstorms is racing to the north. The other band of thunderstorms out to the west with some heavy rain, very slowly working its way to the southeast. So this is what we're going to be watching very closely as these move to the southeast right now. No indication that any more tornado warnings are forthcoming, but again, as we've watched, it's the leading edge of these thunderstorms that have produced at least some brief spin-ups. Now, we've seen a little bit of mid-level rotation in some of these thunderstorms moving up into the south side of the metro area right now. We look down low with velocity, and I'm not really seeing, not only in the Sapulpa storm, we look at the storm south of Bixby. While it has an interesting shape on reflectivity, it does not look like it has any low-level velocity that's too concerning for us. As we look at our Fox 23 Skyview Network camera, on the left side of your screen, we continue to see a lot of lightning there, some thunder. In fact, let's see, as we watch that, I'm going to swing that camera back over just a little bit. Yeah, we're going to swing this over toward the west a bit, because I bet we see a little bit more lightning pointing that way, and we'll look up into the sky just a little bit as well. So, yeah, we're going to see a lot of lightning there. We're looking at our studio cam, it looks like, on the left side of the screen, and we're going to see a lot of lightning with that. So we're in Midtown Tulsa, kind of looking back toward the west at these thunderstorms over the city. Now, they are severe. New flash flood warning, and this is a big flash flood warning. And if you're hearing all those tones, those are the WEA alerts on the Fox 23 severe weather team's phones and mobile devices going off. Those get triggered because the flash flood is a life-threatening emergency. So we've got that flash flood warning now for the entire city of Tulsa, Bixby, Broken Arrow, Jinx. Here's the advice. If you don't have to be out this evening, you just need to stay home because this flooding at night can be extremely dangerous. And that's going to be one big factor as some of that heavy rain moves across the city of Tulsa. Let's see exactly how much rain, what that warning, 2 to 4 inches of rain is going to fall. We have already had 1 to 2 inches of rain. That's according to our friends at the National Weather Service office in Tulsa. So we do have that flash flood warning posted now, and that's going to be valid for the city of Tulsa and nearly the entire metro area right now. You can see the text of that warning over there on the screen on the left side of your screen. So as we come up, you can see the heaviest rain right now, downtown Tulsa. Here's a look at where we're sitting right over the city right now at some of that really heavy rain. TU, downtown Tulsa, all the way back to Highway 97 and Sand Springs. Webster High School getting some of this really heavy rain. Again, so far we've not seen sustained rotation with this storm. I'm going to check velocity one more time. And again, not seeing any low-level indication that we've got much in the way of suspicious activity with this storm. More downpours moving up from the south into the city of Tulsa. You can see a little heavier thunderstorm in northern Okmulgee County. Here's Beggs, back down Highway 16 toward Twin Hills. But we will continue to watch that severe thunderstorm and that flash flood warning that is in effect. So we'll take a look. And again, we're not seeing a lot of rain and thunderstorms kind of locked in right over the city of Tulsa as this heavy downpour continues to move over the city. You know the routine, a lot of those low-lying areas that flood pretty easily. You got 81st in Elwood, 31st in Yale. That one's a lot better than it was, but we still will have to deal with at least some flooding concerns as we continue to watch that. And now we're going to watch also these thunderstorms that continue to lift up to the north across parts of Okmulgee County and continuing to move into southern Tulsa County right now too. And I'm looking at these on high-resolution Doppler radar. They don't look like much on reflectivity. We'll show you what I'm looking at. Right in here. Yeah, we look up and you can actually see this big concave structure here. Here's the Okmulgee Airport, City of Okmulgee, Dripping Springs State Park. Here's Sharp, Wilson. So kind of right in here, we do have some at least elevated, and by elevated I mean it's up in the sky several thousand feet, but we do have a little bit of mid-level rotation with this storm. So it's the other one moving in northern parts of Okmulgee County also seems to have just a little bit of mid-level rotation in it. So we'll continue to watch in case some of that may try to manage to get severe or tap into some of that atmosphere moving our way, because it's still a pretty pronounced level of instability that we have, still a pretty significant level of shear in the atmosphere right now too, but I've not seen any significant signs of sustained rotation. Let's go back to reflectivity. I want to track this storm as it moves right across the city of Tulsa. First, we'll look at this big storm continues to move toward the northeast, and it's moving to the northeast actually pretty quickly. This track's going to be too slow, but moving up toward Keatonville and Seguia, Rogers State College and Claremore, and toward Oologah as well. The light's not on, but we are on KRMG radio right now with storm team coverage thanks to that flash flood warning that is in effect for the city of Tulsa, Broken Arrow, Bixby, Owasso, Collinsville. If you're in the metro Tulsa area, you are in this flash flood warning. We've already seen some street flooding reports, but we will likely see more street flooding reports. Not only do we have this first batch of rain and thunder lifting quickly to the north, but we look behind it here and you can see first batch of storms racing to the north, second batch of storms kind of merging into it right over the city of Tulsa, and that's going to lead to some serious flooding issues for us in the city of Tulsa over the next couple of hours and probably extending on to 11 o'clock or even midnight too. Now, we've got a couple of reports of street flooding in Owasso too. Now, as we look at our team coverage continuing, Let's check in with Fox 23 certified meteorologist Brad Carl. And again, Brad, the same theme. We're talking about flooding being a widespread problem in the metro.
Which is what we expected as we went into the late part of the evening hours and the overnight hours for us. We were expecting to see more in the way of flooding becoming kind of the more primary issue, or at least the more threatening one. That's why we upgraded to that major category for you early on this morning in terms of the threats you'll need to watch out for. Here are some of the latest reports that I've gotten so far and confirmed from our team. And Paul Huska reports some very high water in a few of those spots, including along Lynn Avenue and also on Main Street have been flooded there. This is that same area we've been seeing some very, very heavy rainfall coming on down. I'll actually show you some of those recent rainfall reports coming on up. Over in Hominy in Osage County, they were actually dealing with a few water rescues over there. 4 people were able to be rescued when it looks like their cars got into some water there. No injuries reported, so all good news out of there. The problem is all that water over to the areas to the northwest of Tulsa and also into southern Kansas, where we're just getting inundated by hours upon hours of very heavy rainfall. It all flows into one spot, and that would be the Arkansas River Basin. That all goes into Keystone Lake and gets held behind Keystone Dam and eventually ends up in the Arkansas River right on Tulsa's doorstep. Now, as James had alluded to earlier on this evening, we do have some space to work with in the dam right now because of how much we're able to let out, or rather the Army Corps of Engineers able to let on out. So we have a bit of wiggle room. However, lots and lots of rain is going to be kind of putting that a little bit to the test. As far as just how much rainfall we've been seeing, well, of course, we already talked about Pawnee earlier. They had just below 5 inches of rain. Now it's hopped up and above that, up to around 5¼ inches of rain on that. Closer to Winona, a little bit farther off to the east, you have closer to around 4 inches there. Talala, closer to around 3 inches for you. Same deal in Nowata, just under 3 inches in Skiatook. And what's impressive about Nowata and Skiatook is that in the last 45 minutes, that rainfall total has jumped nearly 1 inch. So these have been very efficient rainfall producers. These storms are just able to wring out like a very, very wet sponge and bring a lot of rainfall. Now, of course, at the airport, I did check this just a few minutes ago, and they hadn't updated that just yet, but at least so far, still not a whole lot for Tulsa. But now with that rain moving on in, we should have an update here in the next little bit and expect to see that rainfall amount jump. And the problem will be for us going overnight is that the storms, as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, are just kind of training over the same spots over and over and over again. And that's what's going to lead to more of that flash flooding threat, which now also includes the city of Tulsa and that very large flash flood warning that was just issued. And that's what you may have heard on your own phone going on off of that blaring, annoying alarm, as it's intended to be, to let you know that there's a dangerous flash flooding threat for your location. Now, James, you continue to track these storms as they try to work their way on in, and also looking at where that tornado threat isn't necessarily done in areas just yet either.
Not just yet. As we look toward downtown Tulsa and on our Fox 23 Skyview Network camera across the left side of your screen, we're also seeing very heavy to severe thunderstorms over the city of Tulsa that could contain some gusty wind and possibly some hail as well. What we are watching, very weak rotation with these. This is the storm that moved up from south of Sapulpa over Kiefer and right into South Tulsa right now. It does have a little tiny bit of rotation in it across parts of South Tulsa, and we'll take a little closer look at that real quick before we start Fox 23 News at 9 o'clock. But across parts of South Tulsa, we're still seeing just a touch of, I'm sorry, could you say it again? Could you say that one more time, please? I did not understand. Okay. So we did have a little bit of rotation move up into the south part of the city of Tulsa right now. It's not really enough to prompt a tornado warning, but we're watching it closely. Remember, the atmosphere is still loaded. Instability, lots of wind shear as well as we watch these thunderstorms race across the city of Tulsa, but they're bringing very heavy rain. This first thunderstorm that has moved across the city has already caused a little bit of street flooding. Second thunderstorms to our west are going to roll in. They're going to cause a lot more rain because they're moving a lot slower too. Now, we will continue to watch these storms